start with you, Professor Matoo. You might have heard what the Home Minister says. Statehood, he claims, will be given without giving a timeline. Article 370 is part of history. In your view, is it critical for normalcy, if I may use the word, in Jammu and Kashmir, for statehood also to be on the agenda with a timeline?
I think it is quite clear that statehood is really central to not only restoring that sense of dignity to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, but also good for administration, good for democracy, and good for the residents of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, or the Union Territory, once it becomes a state, to feel equal. At the moment, my view is that the battle is not for the people of Jammu and Kashmir to feel special. It is to become as equal as any citizen of India and to have a voice, even if it's an oppositional state, opposition party governing the state, like West Bengal or Tamil Nadu or Orissa, who to have the say, to be able to carve out a niche for themselves, to be treated equally in letter and spirit. Frankly, for me, 370 now is a bogey, is a political slogan. Yes, it may attract a sentiment and an underlying sentiment, but more important, we should be fighting for residents of Jammu and Kashmir to feel equal in every sense of that word. And for that, statehood and restoration of statehood at the earliest is extremely important. To build Naya Kashmir, I think it's critical.
I'll come to what your definition of Naya Kashmir is, but Shabnam Lone, we've got Amitabh Matoo making that distinction between Article 370 and statehood. Traveling around the Kashmir Valley, I get a sense Article 370 abrogation is not top of the mind. Losing statehood and the state becoming a union territory is seen as a loss of dignity. People that I've talked to feel that their self-respect, their dignity was affected. Would you also make that distinction that Article 370 giving special status to Jammu and Kashmir is no longer an issue on the table? The real issue is how do you give statehood and an empowered assembly?
See, Article 370 still might be an issue for some people. For me personally, I found it deeply distressing as a lawyer and as an analyst the day the statehood was taken away from us. As a lawyer, I really do not have any example of how a state can be downgraded to the status of a union territory. One. Secondly, you see, where reason prevails, law has to prevail. So, Constitution is supreme. Parliamentary democracy is supreme. Reason is supreme. The question is, the way this statehood, this was demoted to a union territory, and then you decided to give us little compensations. Does it augur well for us? Does it augur well for democracy? I don't think so.
Because, the Home Minister today called the last decade the golden period of Jammu and Kashmir. He said this is a golden period, the last 10 years from 2014 to 2024, and says that peace and stability has returned. And that, according to the Home Minister, is linking that to somewhere the abrogation of Article 370.
With great respect to the Home Minister, he's entitled to his opinion, but I think he's really way off the mark. On what basis is he saying it's the golden period of democracy in Kashmir? On what basis?
Stone pelting has ended, the terror attacks have come down. It seems that the government of India believes that they have restored an element of peace to the valley. That's the first step towards Naya Kashmir.
What peace? See, there is a silent chaos in the valley, right?
A silent chaos?
Yes, there's a silent chaos.
What do you mean by that?
You see, if there is no stone pelting, does it mean that the heart and the mind feels at peace? Do you feel safe here? The question is, has the militancy come down? You see so much of violence still in the valley. On the face, you might see that everything seems normal. But we have decided, Kashmir must decide, and will speak through the ballot this time. We are awaiting these elections which were taken away from us. We were not even given a chance at parliamentary democracy, at this constitutional democracy or this constitutional exercise. Everything was taken away from us. So I think high time for Kashmir go to the polls, Kashmir, and give a specific mandate to any party. But it should be a very specific mandate.
No, but the fact is, the very fact that you're saying people must go out and go to the elections and vote is a departure from what used to happen 10, 20 years ago. You remember polling would be 10%, 12%. There would be calls for boycott. All of that. I was at Jama Masjid today, Friday press. There was no stone pelting. Yes, Mirwais Omar Farooq was under house arrest, not allowed to give his namaz. That was a hark back to the past. But the signs are that the people now actually want to participate in democracy. That's a good sign. They want to go and vote.
Yes, they must vote. Kashmir should come out and they must vote. They must vote and they must speak now because they have been silent for all these years. They have really not spoken. So you tell me, is having a lieutenant governor in a state overriding the constitution many times, is that normalcy? Do you think that place is normal? Second point I would like to put, cultural invasion for Kashmiri. You have not understood the Kashmir ethos. If you feel there is a cultural invasion, you lose a lot about Kashmir. Kashmir feels that there has been a cultural invasion, that he has been humiliated deliberately, that he really had no voice. He has felt voiceless all this time. Yes, I agree. On the face that somewhere, two things. There was a little bit of accountability for all these people who were working in the government offices. They had to come on time. I agree with that. There's a little bit of accountability. But the question is that we need to go to a serious debate. Kashmir still remains a dormant political volcano.